And welcome back to Late Night Lately, the late night show. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the late night podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Here comes the dog. Episode 40. Here comes the dog walking over as if I have something to say to you, which I don't. Okay, you got pet. No, you have your pet. You have your pet. Leave. Episode 40. This is one of those weeks, you know, where we've returned. We're about 3 weeks in to the season, to the new seasons of these shows, and actually, I'm talking about all this right now, and then I just realized that I do have a topic to talk about. But what I was going to say is, like, I didn't have a topic to talk about, but now I just remembered that I read something that I will be able to talk about. Anyway, what's going on in the world of late night or this week? What happened this week in late night? After Midnight had another banner week where they featured a lot of great comedians, and I feel like Taylor's coming into her own, and that's good. That's everything. I still think this show should be on Comedy Central. I was on, what was I on? I think I was on Apple Movies or Apple TV, and I was looking something up to see if it was available for purchase. Oh, I was looking up the show review from Comedy Central to see if that was on Apple TV or whatever that is. Because a lot of this stuff, some new things, new and old, some shows and movies aren't on every platform. Some of them aren't on Google TV. Some of them aren't on Voodoo. I was going to say Fandango at home, but I don't like saying that. Some of them aren't on Apple TV. And all my libraries are they're all spread out, which sucks. Anyway, but upon looking up review on Apple TV, Movies and all this, Apple TV, and Cheap Charts, which is a great platform if you love buying the TV shows and movies, get a Cheap Charts account. It'll keep track of what's on sale. It's perfect. Anyway, but I saw that At Midnight episodes were on sale, and then I wonder if those are on sale on Voodoo. So I went to Voodoo and I saw that they have like 2 seasons for a total of like 100 episodes or something like that, just like 60 episodes. Anyway, I thought, wow, who would buy that? First of all, a show from 2013 that is so topical. Who would spend the money to get, like, I understand for posterity's, like, just for history's sake, but anyway, After Midnight is hitting its just keeps going higher, and they had their announcer Laura Peak on as one of the contestants, the panelists this week. She was with Afion Crockett and Jade Catapreta. I don't know how I pronounce it like that because I believe she's Italian. I didn't look her up. But yeah, they had other people like Lauren Lapkus, Echo Kellum. Just a banner week. Pete Holmes. For Jimmy Kimmel Live, again, I'm going to try to not link to his monologues unless they're stellar or superb. They're always very good, but they get the views. Let me link to something that's not going to get as many views. The Mike Tyson interview, which already has almost 1 million, has 800,000, 806,000. It was a great week for Jimmy Kimmel. He had good guests on. He had Halle Berry and Mike Tyson on the same episode. Halle was the A guest in the A slot, and she was able to tell Mike Tyson stories, which is very funny and fantastic. Josh Gad, Magic Johnson, Sebastian Stan, other people. They also brought back something that I'm not a huge fan of on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Is when there's a new season of The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, and now The Golden Bachelor, they dedicate let's say his monologues are like 10 to 14 minutes long. They dedicate like 2 minutes to talk about that. It's just not funny to me. I don't like The Bachelor. I don't want to support that boring franchise. Seth Meyers had people like Chloe Fineman, Aubrey Plaza, Andy Samberg, Michael Bublé, Leanne Morgan. I know Leanne Morgan. And he also had Will Ferrell and Harper Steele to talk about the new documentary about Harper Steele and Will Ferrell, their friendship, trans things, trans stuff, questions about queer identity, all that stuff in that new documentary, which I believe lives somewhere. Let me see. Because I would, at some point, like to see a Will Ferrell, Harper Steele documentary. It is on Netflix. I was going to say Netflix. I don't want to assume. The Daily Show had another good week. Obviously, they had. Here's something I want to mention. On Monday, Jon Stewart hosted, and obviously they do the. He hosts one day a week. Obviously, they upload the monologues to these shows. So like Desi Lydic was the host for the rest of the week. Ronnie Chang was the host last week. They have their monologues up on the YouTube channel. Jon Stewart's monologue, or rather I say half of it, was uploaded to the YouTube channel, and then that was it for like a whole day. I know I'm somebody who watches the show on linear TV, on YouTube TV. I sit there, I record it, and I watch it back. I also have Paramount Plus. I can go to Paramount Plus and watch it. On YouTube is a free platform. As much as they want you to pay for YouTube Premium. It's a free platform where people choose to come and watch a Bill Maher clip, a Jon Stewart clip, videos about cats, what have you. This is not a podcast. The Daily Show is not a podcast. Ever since Jon Stewart left, they've been on their YouTube game like crazy, literally uploading pretty much every single second of the show, with the exception of like the moment of Zen. They uploaded only on Monday a 7-minute preview of Jon Stewart's monologue that only focused on half the topic he talked about. And then I see, which I did not notice until today, they uploaded the rest of the monologue, which is a total of 14 minutes and 31 seconds. So they cut out 7 minutes to do a preview, and then they uploaded the rest the next day. This is the same issue I have with Last Week Tonight, and it's not a blame on Last Week Tonight. It's a blame on Max, on Warner Bros. For them to... People aren't going to watch. You're not going to get more views because people can't watch it on YouTube. People are going to wait until Thursday to watch the whole segment of Last Week Tonight from Sunday because it's still pertinent news. The same goes for The Daily Show. Don't hold half of this monologue because you think, oh, this is going to be the breakout thing. No, people are going to watch the thing. The video is still going to say 2 million views. And so now that you have held back 7 minutes, that first video, when people saw the word preview, that still has 1.4 million views, which means that they held out and they were going to end up watching the 2 million view one. That's a 14-minute long monologue. Don't hold things back. Just let people watch whatever. You're still going to make your money, and it's still going to come from YouTube. It's not going to be a lot, because this is not how the internet works, but you're still going to make your money. Don't withhold from your audience. Okay. Next up, Stephen Colbert on The Late Show. Oh, I wrote down Late Show on this, on my notes. Let me go back and delete that extra late, because The Late Show is no more. Stephen Colbert had people like Sarah Silverman, Chris Stapleton, but the one person, and Jane Goodall and Bill Gates, the person I want to point out the most is Justin Trudeau. Because again, I know I've mentioned this before, it is so great when Stephen's able to sit down and talk business or politics with these people, with people that come on to talk about that stuff. And Justin Trudeau was able to talk about the rise of xenophobia in Canada and where Canadians and Americans disagree. I like that. I like it when he has people like that on. I don't know if you can hear this dog barking, but I think Hurricane Helene has already passed, and we just got a lot of rain here in Metro Atlanta. However, taking the dog out to go pee and poop was the worst. I'll say that much. So now there's like all these puddles. The rain's gone, but now there's like all these deep puddles just in all the dog areas in my apartment complex, and there's a lot, but there's just so many puddles. All right, and then finally, Jimmy Fallon had another good week. His monologues have gotten really strong. I really appreciate them. He hung out with Tim Cook. He did stuff with Michael Strahan, Sebastian Maniscalco, Chloe Sevigny, Shaquille O'Neal. But one thing I want to point out is that he's been promoting this Tonightmares experience, haunted house experience, and he took Prince Harry with him, and I thought that was just a very stupid, funny thing. Okay, all right. Now, here, let's get to the main story. This comes from Esquire, written by Michael Sebastian. Hasan Minhaj explains himself. If you don't recall, last fall, The Daily Show, when it was still in the midst of auditioning people and having guest hosts like John Leguizamo, Charlamagne the God, D.L. Hughley, Wanda Sykes, just a whole slew of people, Sarah Silverman and Chelsea Handler, and just say Leslie Jones. Is that it? Is that everybody? Not me. They didn't have me on. It would have been great though. I would have done it so fast. Okay, but Hasan was, and then Hasan was supposed to be the host. They'd already he basically had the job. And then a story from, I believe, the New Yorker, right? LA Times. Yes, the LA Times. It was a story from the New Yorker. Yeah, it was the New Yorker on September 15, 2023. The New Yorker published a story that sought to verify anecdotes from Minhaj's stand-up specials. And then a bunch of op-eds came out. And then from like the Los Angeles Times and, New York Times, all these other places. He went radio silent. Essentially, The Daily Show was like, well, we still haven't found, because it wasn't announced, but it was basically an open secret that, yeah, Hasan had the job. But he moved on. In the week that followed, he posted a video talking about refuting the claims of the New Yorker hit piece. And I really would say it's a hit piece. The more or less the story was, in his last 2 or 3 specials, he fabricated a bunch of stories that involved racism towards Muslims, which he is. And, look, should he have done it to the scale he did it? No. But in the grand scheme of things, what is he? He's a comedian, and this is a great thought that he brought. I mean, obviously that he brought up, but that he put out there is that it's his job to hyperbolize things more or less. I'm really just ruining everything he says, but it's the way that I'm looking at some of the quotes that this writer is writing, the writer is writing about in this article, and it's not good. In the Esquire article, it's too formal. Come on, guys. If we're gonna do this big feature piece, for Esquire. Let's not write, internet language. And Hasan basically had the job, and he, but he lost it because of that. Comedians reached out to him. Mike Birbiglia, a bunch of other people reached out to him, and he talked to them for a very long time. And it is just a shame that he's not hosting now, and we're back with Jon Stewart hosting on Mondays. Look at Hasan; he's a handsome man. My goodness, these pictures for Esquire. But this is an excellent piece that I only read the big quotes from in regards to why what happened. Why what happened happened. Why what happened happened. And what he called these, I think he said at one point. The article was called "Emotional Truths" from the New Yorker, and I never, when it came out, I remember feeling like it was like a stupid thing. Like, yeah, I mean, how many? It's not like, yes, I understand the views coming from how the one Los Angeles Times op-ed writer said that it essentially put a target on Muslims in America. But how many of those stories, fabricated as they may be, but how many of those stories have happened in piecemeal or in total? It's just, these things have, this type of racism, and speaking of xenophobia earlier, has happened before. And Hasan told Esquire, I can't speak to other people's experience, but everybody was very professional and cool to me. It was lovely, and everybody was lovely. It was just disillusioning for me because I'm like, what happened? Wait, what's going on? When it talks about it ends with us. Okay, that's it. It ends with us. What is this? Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing. Oh my God, I clicked on the wrong article. That's ridiculous. Anyway, he was in It Ends With Us, a movie that I did not think had people of color in it. There are other comedians who have lied about, worse things. Steve Razanazizi, I believe that is his name. He lied about being in 9/11. That's true. He did say that. I think about that all the time. I was watching clips of The League, which is such a funny show, but it is so of the time. I was watching clips of The League a couple of days ago, and every time I saw him, I was just like, God, that guy, that guy lied about being in 9/11. In his YouTube rebuttal, Minhaj explains why he made the choice of changing stories, adding in details, leaving out others. In the first draft, which he wrote to convey how scary the incident really was, talking about something that happened in Homecoming King that he was talking about, his comedian friends thought that his wife came across as a nag. And that's what happens when you're shopping things around, when you have ideas, you go, okay, hey, comedian, tell me what you think about this. What should I do with this? Change it. By altering the anecdote, he was able to convey faster and more sharply how the consequences of his career choices had suddenly become very real. And now his wife was not the butt of the joke. When asked whether he regrets taking liberty on the story, which go watch Homecoming King, he says it was a shortcoming on my part. I could have made the exposition better. I didn't need to pull in my daughter. That's one thing where I'm looking back on it and I'm like, you could have changed that, kept it the way it was. Our daughter was right there. Write the scene, keep tweaking it. The toughest thing about being a performer is that everyone is a character in your life. I have to balance that they have to win and I have to lose. You never get it right, And he's right. I mean, this is just what comedians do. Comedians are all about telling a story. And it doesn't have to, like, comedians will start. I was at the mall the other day. Who's at the mall the other day in 2024? Everybody take it so seriously. But again, counterpoint to that is that there is a bunch. His stories were dealt with racism and hate. So what is he to do in that moment? I thought, I don't know if I mentioned this on this podcast of the Constitutionals, but when it happened, I thought, if anything, he could have, if any of the stories were largely changed, if like more than 50% of the story was changed, he could have been like, so none of that is completely true, but what if it did happen? But then again, like, you don't, like, at the end of a set, no one's gonna, people are like, what? That was a lie? It's, anyway. Go watch his stand-up. He's a funny guy. And I'm someone who does not watch a lot of stand-up anymore. Rami Youssef. He talks to Rami Youssef, Birbiglia, Mulaney, Jon Stewart, Ronnie Chang. Anyway. It's a decent piece to go read over here. And I just skimmed it. And I misquoted another article, a People article, that I thought had a quote that I was looking for, that I'd seen, but I just said it out loud. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to some famous people sometimes. If you want to see a video version of the show, head to youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can see video versions of the other podcasts, the Constitutionals podcast, which is the Entertainment Business News podcast, and LinkedIn Logs, which is the Jobs podcast. You can subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts, the major players. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook @cpluscomedy, me @ChadBlackWhite. Thank you so much. Bye.